I remember the faces most of all. There were hundreds of them, staring, smiling, grinning, laughing out from the photos mounted on letter-sized notices taped to a brick wall. The place was the 69th Regiment Armory on the east side of Manhattan in the aftermath of September 11th, 2001. I and other passers-by stopped to contemplate the display. Missing, a lot of the messages went. Any information, they pleaded. Please call. Then the person's name, photo, weight, height, where they worked, when and what floor, in what side of what tower of the World Trade Center they were last seen in, and a number or email address to contact if anyone had any details on their disappearance. This was several years before Facebook. Photocopied posters like these were the most immediate way the victims' spouses or relatives or employers could send the message out that someone valuable to them, and otherwise anonymous to us, had been at the WTC when the planes hit and was still unaccounted for. The Armory was one site among many where these posters appeared around the city in the aftermath of the attack. But as the hours and days stretched on and hope of finding anyone alive faded, the sites became shrines, immortalized in TV reports and magazine spreads and newspaper accounts. One of those happened to be mine, published on Sunday, September 16th, the day I finally got out of that shattered city and returned to my own loved ones in Montreal. I'd been in New York for a little under a week, assigned to the epicenter of the world's biggest news story, and what stuck in my mind most clearly was those faces, the lost souls of the metropolis. In my coverage, I wrote that the Armory on Lexington Avenue had been turned into a bereavement center for the victims' families, and that the pictures of the missing were pasted from the sidewalk up. Every inch of space is taken, I wrote, not only on the wall, but on street corner telephone booths, on television trucks, anywhere there was an empty surface. I saw a young mother approach the posters with her toddler in her arms, put down her Gucci bag, and start reading. The child made a grab for one of the sheets of paper. "Don't tear them down, dear," the mother said. "We must be very gentle." I described what the flyers looked like. In one, a girl in a little Tykes play car poses in a park with her father. The message reads, "Have you seen my daddy?" In another, a futures trader, father of newborn twins, holds one of the infants up proudly for the camera. Another picture showed a consultant who worked on the 102nd floor of the North Tower, while yet another showed the waiters and staff of Windows on the World, the famous restaurant on the 106th. Then I watched as a man in a sweatshirt came up to the wall and, very carefully, put up a photo of a smiling couple, him and his girlfriend by the looks of it. The picture had been taken at a fancy supper party. Happier days. Pad and pen at the ready, I asked the man about the picture and, that old journalistic standby, how he felt. "Fill it in yourself," he snapped. I must have looked a little taken aback, so he touched my arm gently and apologized. "I don't mean to be smart," he said. "I feel terrible." So did I, for intruding on the intimacy of this man's moment at the wall. But then, that's what all of us reporters were doing that week, intruding, probing, prodding the wound. It was our job, and at the same time, it was our burden. "We don't know anyone whose face is up there, but we could have," one of the passers-by told me. "We all could have." And he was right. I visited another memorial wall before I left town. It was a few blocks away, on both sides of the walkway leading into Bellevue Hospital, where many of the injured had been taken. Down the long glass-roofed arcade to the hospital's entrance, I wrote, hundreds more photos line what is being called the Wall of Prayers. It would later be taken down and remounted as an exhibition at the Museum of the City of New York. On a chair in front of the display, an old man sat quietly weeping, attended by a hospital volunteer who told him, "Just pray to God to give you the strength to handle this." As if on cue, a priest in white robes appeared at the man's side. "Go with this nice lady," she said, indicating a police officer who'd also stopped to help. "Get checked out," she said. "It's the best thing." And she was right, too. We all needed a bit of therapy that week, and in the many weeks and months ahead. If the faces I saw stuck in my memory, so too did they help me as I came to grips with a news event whose deathly scope was beyond anything I'd ever encountered. So many strangers, so many stories to tell. Eventually they were told, in great detail, in the media, at memorial services, at every anniversary of 9/11, and always there was a photo attached. 10 years on, those images are a reminder that no individual is ever just another face in the crowd, just another picture on the wall. We are all, each and every one of us, individuals. That may be our weakness, but it is also our strength. And we don't truly die as long as there are others left behind to remember.